I'm not gonna lie, dear readers, this film gave me nightmares. Easy riders, and welcome to the Film Book Club YouTube channel. We're here in sunny Wales where I'm on holiday, but I thought, hey, why not do a video whilst I'm here and I've got some spare time? Anyway, Crawlspace is a 1986 horror film written and directed by David Schmoller and starring Klaus Kinski as Mr. Karl Gunther, the son of a Nazi doctor who was killed for his war crimes during World War II. Mr. Gunther is addicted to killing and stalks the inhabitants of the boarding house which he owns by crawling through the air vents and spying on them. By coincidence, each of the residents in his boarding house just happen to be very young, attractive women. One is a soap actress on TV, one is a musician who enjoys nothing more than tinkling the ivories, whilst also modifying her own lingerie with revealing nipples. One has an extremely sweet tooth in a bizarre plot point that never really gets mentioned at all later on in the film, although she does throw a house party with the biggest plate of whatever the American version of Quality Street is. And finally, there is the latest inhabitant of the boarding house, Laurie, who is a new student in the area. Now, Mr. Gunther takes extreme exception to all of the gentlemen callers each of the girls seem to bring home to the boarding house. There's also another gentleman who, after some extreme investigating, discovers where Gunther's whereabouts are in America, having fled Argentina numerous years before. He also believes that the evil character portrayed by Mr. Kinski killed his brother many years ago. He then confronts the doctor about this and also about his father's past. You know, for such an intuitive and obviously intelligent man, he doesn't think about bringing any backup with him, which is a bit of a bizarre thing to do when going into the bedroom of a clearly psychotic doctor. Well, I'm sure he'll be fine. Klaus Kinski is the ultimate loose cannon in cinematic history ever. There is a deranged wildness in his eyes and he is cast perfectly in this role. Now, apparently the cast and the crew absolutely despised Klaus Kinski during the making of this film. He wouldn't turn up on set when he was supposed to. When he did turn up on set, he refused to wear the costumes which was provided for him, so he went out, bought his own clothes and then charged that to the studio, so he got to basically buy his own wardrobe. He wouldn't learn his lines. When he did finally turn up on set and speak the lines, he'd speak completely ad-libbed things, and then he wouldn't say the same lines again if they had to do a retake later on. And it got to the point where he wouldn't work with certain people actually being in the same room on set when he was doing his lines. When he was off set and they were filming other people's scenes, the cast and the crew always used to approach David Schmoller and say to him, "Please kill Mr. Kinski," which the director then made a documentary in 1999, and that was the title of the documentary, so it just shows what a domineering and powerful presence this guy is, and it does add to the story. He is a scary guy, but it's not the sort of person you'd actually want on your set. I guess you could say he makes Oliver Reed looks like a little pussycat. David Schmoller, the writer-director, originally penned the script with the character played by Kinski as being a Vietnam veteran who had returned home to America and had gone insane through all of the happenings which had happened to him during the war, and he used to recreate the scenes of Vietnam by keeping people hostage in the boarding room. However, Hollywood didn't think America was quite ready for a film like this, as this was a pre-Platoon era. So in order to compromise in getting the film made, they suggested they just change the character into a Nazi doctor. Much more original. Obviously, in doing this, they did say that they would be able to cast Klaus Kinski in the role, and with Kinski being a prominent name in cinema, he would guarantee a certain audience to come along to the film. Now, the film itself contains some really horrific scenes. There's one in particular scene where a man sits down on a chair, and let's just say it makes the scene that happens to James Bond in Casino Royale in the chair look like a nice comfy hammock. There's clear unease and tension throughout the entire 80 minutes of the film, predominantly due to Klaus Kinski and also some wonderful cinematography. Now, some of the traps that Gunther sets to frighten the inhabitants of his boarding house are a little bit ridiculous, and it does push the film into a bit of a swastika version of Home Alone. This does take you out of the film slightly, but then again, you have to forgive it because it is the 80s, and things, you know, which seem ridiculous and abhorrent now were, I guess, quite plausible back then. A great motif which happens throughout the film is each time Gunther commits a murder, he then plays Russian roulette with himself. He places one bullet in the gun, spins the chamber and holds it to his head, fires, obviously he doesn't die, otherwise it'd be a very abrupt ending, and then he places the gun down on the table, and in the most menacing voice possible, he just says to camera, "So be it." The film is dark, disturbing, intense, and very, very 80s, but most importantly, It's fun, which is certainly something which has been lacking from most horror films of recent times. Now, regarding films which are quite similar to this, I'd say it was a hybrid of things like Green Room, Home Alone, Marathon Man, and then all of those trashy 80s horror film sequels. So like all of the things from the Friday the 13th sequels, the Halloween sequels, the Nightmare on Elm Street sequels. If you're a fan of those, you'll definitely enjoy this. As always, thanks so much for watching, guys. Have you seen Crawlspace? If so, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and check out our Facebook pages and Twitter pages. The links are going across the page now, and also our website, which is filmbookclub.co.uk, and also subscribe to this channel, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.